What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here. We're going to do some technical analysis on Amazon. A lot of hype around it today with a breakout of a specific pattern. Did you miss it? Is it too late? Or do we still have a great opportunity to catch some upside momentum? That's what we're going to be digging into today. It's going to be a very quick video. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can follow me there at Mike P. Silva. I also have an Instagram too. That's Figuring Out Money. I do post a lot of charts intraday on my Twitter account, and then Instagram is just a bunch of random shenanigans. So let's go ahead and hop right into the analysis. All right, welcome back. We're going to start off with the monthly time frame, and then we're going to kind of work ourselves down to really help determine, A, is this the best time to be getting into Amazon? Should we wait for a pullback, or should we play out this breakout? First off, on the monthly time frame, I just want to point out this is obviously a longer time frame, so each candle represents 1 month of data. It's in a nice bull flag. We're above the 5 EMA, and we're not quite extended on the upper Bollinger Band. This, to me, looks pretty strong so far. I don't see why we couldn't reach up to this 3550 to 3600 range until we see that next area of resistance. So on the monthly time frame so far, everything looks good. If we start breaking below this lower trend line here, then that would be more of a cause for concern, especially if we start getting and closing below on a monthly time frame, below the 5 EMA. But right now, everything looks good. On the weekly time frame, okay, I'm going to be pointing out something different than I usually don't point this stuff out. I find it to be more important than ever, though, because of the contraction of the Bollinger Bands and the narrowing of the Bollinger Bands. So I have a couple things here that I want to point out. This is the weekly time frame. Every candle represents a week of data. So we're going to start from back here from October, November, December, going into 2020. All right. So what do you notice here? This is the Bollinger Band width indicator here. Okay. It really just helps us determine if we're really contracted versus previous histories. And as you can see here, that on a weekly time frame is very contracted for the narrowing of the Bollinger Bands. And when you have narrowing Bollinger Bands, it foreshadows potentially more volatility. So what you need to do here is you look at the Bollinger Bands, you're like, wow, these are really contracted. Maybe there'd be more volatility to come. Okay, so then you want to go ahead and map out certain channels or trends or support resistance that it might be in, as we did right here. Boom, boom. And then what we saw a break above it, and that right there represents a potential for a Bollinger squeeze. So it's called a Bollinger Band squeeze. It's a trading strategy. Okay, it's been around for quite some time. And what we noticed was when we broke above that, we got a squeeze higher over the upper Bollinger Bands pretty significantly. Okay, we were down here at around 1900 and we came up all the way to 2200-ish, right around there. Okay, and then you could see the Bollinger Bands start to contract from that point. Now, a couple things that you can also mimic this with or look at with is the CMF. You can use the MFI. You can use on-balance volume. And why I'm bringing this up right now is simply because just look at the channel that we're currently in right here. Okay, we're not near the bottom range or not near the top range yet. We're kind of in the center. The Bollinger Band width it's pretty contracted right now, not relative to over here, but it is contracted and it's narrowing. So this could be foreshadowing a potential bigger move. Now, there's important things to call out here. First off, the money flow, okay? The CMF, we're negative right here, so we kind of see it kind of tapering off and dying off. So that's important to note. That doesn't mean that price action can't continue to move higher, but just note that we have resistance up over ahead. So if we start seeing this move higher, we really want to see it break above this level. That doesn't mean we can't capture a little move to the upside, though. This is just to note because it is important. Now, we're going to zoom in more on the daily time frame. Okay, the daily time frame, this is a symmetrical triangle. It's in bullish context. This is a solid breakout on very good volume today. So what typically comes after these solid pattern breakouts? Well, we can see a move all the way to the previous high here of around 3550. Okay, you might have resistance in a couple areas like 3350 and also right here about 3500, but typically when you get a breakout, if it's a real deal, you can go back to the all-time previous high there, 3550. So far, things are looking pretty strong. You have the CMF kind of putting in higher lows right here, trending upward. So if that move continues, that would be good. Now, what do I also want to point out? Notice where on the daily time frame here, the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands you can see right here visually, the blue shaded area, they're very contracted. And now guess what? We broke out of a channel and a symmetrical pattern, and we're really contracted right here. So this could be the the squeeze a Bollinger Band squeeze play. So if this does confirm and we close up here, which it looks like we will today, only 40 minutes left in the day, anything could happen, but this could be the confirmation of a breakout to move higher. So this all to me looks very strong. Now, if you haven't heard of the Bollinger Band squeeze trading strategy, this was developed, I believe, by John Bollinger. He has a book out. I'll link it in the description so you can read more about how Bollinger Bands work. Very interesting stuff, and seems to work out pretty darn well. So overall, the Amazon play right now, it looks like a solid breakout. You got good volume to support it. The Bollinger Bands are contracted, which foreshadows potentially increased volatility. So that could expand the Bollinger Bands back up, giving this a nice run, possibly all the way up to 35.50. Why do I like this so much, this play? Well, first off, the risk versus reward is very important. Look at right down here how you had tag, 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 tag. All these data points right here would suggest that there's some support there at around 3,200, just below it. Let's call it 3,150. So if you were to enter in and you have a stop loss right under there, under 3,200 you can call it, or under the low of today's candle, that would work, 3,172. You can potentially gain quite a bit. This is a pretty big, 5-to-1, 4-to-1 risk versus reward. If we come and tag this 35.30, you'd be risking a little bit to potentially earn a lot. To me, that makes a lot of sense in this current environment. Just make sure that you have your stop losses in place by playing this, because you never know what can happen. These could all be head fakes, but potentially. So like I said, I like this play. I would go long it. I missed this breakout, and I like to play breakouts. I put my money in a couple other aspects. So if you're an options trader, this could make a good call option up to 35.50. I would probably personally have it just a little bit lower, and I would be scaling out of the position as the move continues. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you on ticker symbol AMZN. Hope that helps. Goodbye.